and we are moving forward, and we're absolutely excited about it. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I don't know, Mayor, Councilwoman ErvIn would like to make a statement to that effect.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Sure.
Mr. City Manager. Councilwoman.
I would just like to add, I agree with everything that Drew is saying. And when it comes to community development, my personal perception is I'm a part of the Northwest community. And when I look at people always making certain statements, I walk out my door at any time of night I need to. I'm comfortable. I have been in the community, dare I say, 51 years. I have never been a victim of crime. Never. I've never had my home broken in. I've never been attacked. I've never been assaulted. So I have a major concern that when we live in society, usually people who are outside of the community has this stigma of what they think happens in the community. Just like people had the perception of what they thought was happening downtown, now downtown is one of the places to be. And I'm daring to tell you, my community is one of the places to be. A lot of things that's perceived to be happening is not. It's reported as being happening. It's about like me telling you that someone got hurt on 2nd Loop, but I reported it being someplace downtown area. Everything is about perception. And because of the negative perception that has been given to these communities for years, and I say given to because people think that's the way it is. They've never been in the community, but they perceive it. I smile because one of the local reporters, I had the honor of talking to her, and she lives out in the Old Mill area. And she was surprised when I was telling her about talking to my neighbor on my porch, just talking across the street. She said, "You talk to your neighbors?" Like, yes, I know my neighbors. I tell people when I leave home, I don't worry about my home because my neighbors are there watching. My neighbor who lives next to me is like the grandfather to my children where my father passed. That's what a close community is. A community is not just about buildings, understand that. And you know, the buildings are falling down, but I'm still there, I'm not leaving because I enjoy the people who I'm there with. And I feel like the city of Florence is being cheated because you don't know the people there. I dare to say, my neighbors, some of them I would rather have than to go and live in your community when you have a neighbor that you don't know their names and you wouldn't dare talk to them. I laugh because when I think about, even when it comes down to it, especially our seniors, I love them. They know everyone's children and they're gonna watch them and they will let you know about what is happening with your child. So when it comes to community revitalization, one of the great things I saw even when we went down to Georgia was that some of the people who moved in the community that was being rehabilitated were from outside of that area. I met a young lady and I got her information. She told me when her and her husband moved into Georgia, she said, "You could not have told me that I would be moving into an area that's got dilapidated buildings and buy a new home." But she did because she felt the spirit of the community. And so I would join into what Drew was saying that these consultants that we've got aboard, I'm really looking forward to working with them. This did not happen overnight. It's not going to be cured overnight. That's the nurse in me. You start with what the problem is, you start to address it, you look at the solution, and then you start the healing process. And I believe the communities will be healed. I wish it was fast. I wish it could do it overnight like an ICU, but we can't. But I'm committed to doing it. And I'd like to thank the city staff, especially everyone who went with us, who helped us so much, and the city staff who still does so much, especially I say Michael and everyone, with the issues that we've had with drainage, they've been right there. The Florence city staff has really come into the community like I've never seen before. So I know the process is started. It's going to take some time, but I believe as long as this council here stays committed and keep that vision in place, we can do it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you all. Councilman Jones.
You said something that was a little bit disturbing to me. See, my concern is home ownership. People need to own their homes. And what you said was we got to have people who are willing to come in and invest in these communities. You got to have banks who are willing to lend money in these communities. But you see, you know, are you speaking that this neighborhood redevelopment plan that you're putting together is for rental properties? I mean, no. What I'm hearing is that we have to have those folk with money to come in, and they are the ones who are going to play in our communities. And that to me is that they're going to come in and they're going to make sure, and I don't have a problem with that, that they get reap all the benefits as a result of, which means maybe apartment complexes and rental properties. But, you know, and I see that our neighborhoods, we are losing the home ownership aspect of our neighborhoods. And that is what I am so afraid of, is that, you know, as I mentioned, the Wall Street thing, they're coming in and they're buying up all these properties, all these low-income properties, and they are renting these properties out. And that means that our people that in these communities are totally controlled. And then you're controlled by the rental values that a lot of them cannot pay. It which forces those who were living in single-family, living in home-owned properties, now are forced to live in the apartment complex. And I don't want to see that happen in our communities. And that's pretty much.
Mayor, Councilwoman ErvIn.
Yeah, Councilwoman ErvIn, and then.
Yeah. Well, I told you I would answer, because one of the things that I focus upon is home ownership. Being a realtor, I've stated before in the past that home ownership actually improves the condition of the community. It actually improves the health of the children, even on the educational level. So that's known on the real estate aspect. So when I go into this project, when I went into this project, you can ask any consultants, everyone. My first question is always, what can be done about home ownership? The young lady who I spoke about, she moved in the community to do home ownership. So the consulting group that we work with now, they work with the process of home ownership, also some rentals, because you have mid to higher level incomes that will be approached by the community. So one of the areas in Spartanburg already has like 12 what they call owner properties. What's going to happen with that? They're on a program for 3 years where they'll transition from, you know, I say rent to own is what you would call it, to after that 3 years you get a chance to actually own it. Because one of the things that, and it works, because actually I have people I've placed in the Northwest community who, when it comes to buying a home, you've got to have the credit. I don't care where you're at, in Florence or anywhere else, you've got to have the credit history for anyone to loan to you. So when it comes to the areas we're in, we're already at over 7% rental, because what's happened, people have died, properties going into tax sales. So we're already in that crucial tipping point where we have a lot of these already rental properties. So now what we've got to look at now, as we are working there, how can we get these properties removed, which we're doing now, but then replace them. And I think, Councilman Robin, you're familiar that you've worked with clients before who you got approved for home ownership, but then they didn't buy the home that you had in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the type of issues that we have taken to the consultants, and they will be working with it. The same concerns that you have, I have, and they are very well aware that it is an issue, because I hit everyone with that. Home ownership, and Drew probably smiled, but you know I beat them up all the time. Every consultant, home ownership, because I believe that's going to be the key to revitalizing the community. So it's not forgotten. We're working on it.
Thank you, Councilwoman ErvIn. We do need to move forward.